For today's class, you might want a block to sit on, and your Pilates ball or a cushion would be really handy. Whilst you're getting all your things together, hit that subscribe button for me and join me on the mat. We'll get started. Laying down on your back to begin, laying in your Pilates rest position, which is the feet walked in towards the sit bones and the body nice and relaxed. We're just going to check in with the spine. So thinking about its natural curves, you should have a curve at your neck. There's a little curve in the upper back as well. And then think about the lumbar curve where your lower back sort of curves away from the mat slightly. This is what we want to think about in conjunction with our neutral pelvis. So hands onto the hips and just start to imprint your lower back into the mat and then arch your lower back away from the mat. So imprint and arch, imprint and arch. This is your rocking through the pelvis, and you can see as the pelvis moves forwards and backwards, the spine arches and curves. Really simple theory. We're going to bring our spine and our pelvis back to neutral, so that's effortless in the middle. And then I want you to imagine a big clock face on the front of your pubic bone, okay? And we're going to work our way around the clock. So to arch your lower back, push your hips forwards, let those roll forwards. We're calling that the 12 o'clock position. Come back through neutral. Imprint the lower back into the mat, hips roll towards you, that's 6. So have a go at neutral, 12, neutral, 6, neutral, 12, neutral, 6. Back to neutral, and I want you to find the 3 o'clock position now. So gently start to push your right hip in towards the mat. You might notice your knees move a bit, that's fine. And then back to neutral. So again, find 3 o'clock, push your right hip into the mat. And back to neutral. There is quite a lot of movement here, but we've got the mat behind us, so it does limit us a little bit. Working through that right hip. Let's move on to the left hip to find that 9 o'clock position. So push the left hip into the floor and release. Left hip into the floor and release. And do that 2 more times. That's it. And again. Back to neutral. Now find the 12 o'clock position. That's arching the back, pelvis rocked forwards. Roll around to 3 o'clock, right hip into the mat. Roll to 6 o'clock, spine imprinted. Roll to 9, left hip into the mat. And roll back to 12 and back to neutral. And we reverse. We go 12 o'clock, 9, roll to 6, roll to 3, roll to 12, and bring that back to neutral spine. This sets us up really nicely for our first exercise. We're going to level these up through level 1, 2 and 3 today. So we begin by just taking one knee over to the side. So I'm just opening one knee out away to the side of my mat and drawing it back in. Then have a go on the other knee. Open wide, draw it back in. Now what I want you to think about is avoiding 3 o'clock or 9 o'clock. So as you open your knee, keeping neutral. You're not tipping your hips over. Another way to think about this, keep going side to side, is to think about your sacrum, the back part of your pelvis, the flat bit at the back of your pelvis. Keep that in contact with the mat. Keep both butt cheeks in contact with the mat, okay? You don't want either of those to lift off. Keep your belly button turning towards the ceiling. If your belly button turns off center slightly, it's an indication that your spine has twisted, your lower back has twisted, and your pelvis has twisted. Okay, so that's quite low level, okay? It's not too challenging, it's just a little bit thoughtful. So move on to level 2, we're gonna find our tabletop legs. So finding your neutral lower back, neutral hips, let's start to lift each knee to tabletop. So we take some time to just engage through pelvic floor, draw in through the lower abdominals, and you're just gonna cock a leg out to the side. That's it. And draw it back in through the center. And then have a go with the other leg. You're going wide through the leg and squeeze it back in. That's it. So again, we're trying to keep sacrum in contact with the middle of the mat, nice and heavy in the center of the mat there. So find that heaviness through your sacrum. Belly button remains facing forwards. That's it. And again, we're not lifting hips and butt cheeks off the mat at this level 2 movement. So we're looking for hip stability. You'll start to feel your tummy working really hard here because it's mostly core movements and core contractions that keep your pelvis in its nice neutral position. So we're working against gravity here to keep the spinal column central in the middle of the mat. Just 2 more as we go. Opening and closing, keeping spine nice and central. Lovely. Bring those feet back down then. And here's where we need our cushion or our ball. So grab whatever you've got. And we're going to find tabletop legs again, ball in between the knees this time. So you want a relatively firm grip on the ball. This maintains equidistance between the knees. Let's start to actually turn to our 3 o'clock position now. So start to roll over onto your right hip slightly and then draw in through your abdominals to bring the sacrum back to the center of the mat, belly button to the sky. So rolling over to 9 o'clock. You'll find your right cheek and right hip lift off the mat, and you've got to bring your sacrum back to the middle, belly button to the sky. So start rocking gently side to side. Draw yourself back to the center. Take a pause at center when you've got there, because kind of mentally, that's the neutral position that we want to reinforce. Okay, so again, we're working against gravity. We're going into a twist, and we've got to find the strength to bring ourselves back. Now, things to watch here is, if you're gripping into the mat for dear life, maybe just turn your palms upwards to disengage some shoulder tension there. Trying to keep your shoulders centered in the mat as well. Okay, so it's just the pelvis moving. You don't want your shoulders twisting. If that's happening a little bit, to make this tougher, just relax your arms out away from the body somewhere and then do your movements. This will give you a better idea of where your center is through your shoulder girdle as your pelvic girdle moves side to side. Good, so we're still going side to side here, gently rocking to 3 o'clock to neutral, to 9 o'clock to neutral. Good, really drawing in nicely through the lower abs. These should start to be getting quite warm by now. Let's go for another 3 or 4 here. Just keeping the fingertips out towards the ceiling. Good, just finishing off with our last one then. We'll bring the knees back to the center and gently relax feet and relax hands back to the mat. You can put that ball down for the next bit. We're going to stick with our pelvic clock theory, but slightly new move. If you can take your right foot up towards the ceiling there, don't worry if yours isn't perfectly straight. We're going to work on the single leg circle. So just start testing the waters with a circle. And notice how your pelvis might start rocking and rolling. You know, a little bit like a boat rocking on the sea. It might just start undulating. So if that's the case, bring your sacrum back to the middle of the mat, belly button towards the ceiling, and find a little bit more strength around the hip joint, because this is a hip control movement, single leg hip control movement. You don't need to go for a big circle initially. You can start to get there if you've got the control. Okay, but only go as wide and as big as your control is able to kind of hold on. That's it. So you might find that you whip around part of the circle a bit quicker and slow down on other parts. And that whipping around, that speeding through, again, indicates the slightly, weaker part of the circle. So slow that down there. Squeeze around the hip a little bit more. Good. Let's change direction. So same leg, same circle, changing direction. Using those deep core muscles to keep your hip stability in place. That's it. So we're avoiding any rocking to 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. We're not even rocking to 12 or 6 here. We're trying to keep everything beautifully neutral. Natural curve in the low back. Strong through the thighs, strong through the hip. Let's go for another 3 or 4 here. You've got it. Find maybe a part of the circle to inhale and a part to exhale. Nice and smooth. Good. Maybe finishing last one. And then we're just going to bring that leg back in to rest on the mat. Change legs. So looking for 10, 12 circles each way. Begin. See what you've got. You can go nice and small with the circles to start you off. We're really looking for hip stability. I sometimes find as well it's quite helpful to take fingertips onto the hip bones. And that gives you really good feedback as to whether your hips are in fact staying steady. And then again, I'm focusing on heavy sacrum, belly button forward facing. Lovely. Trying to kind of suck that thigh bone back into the hip socket to keep it nice and strong. I'm going to go for a couple more here, so if you'd like to join me for those. And then start to explore the other direction. So just reverse that circle. Keep your thigh strong. Keep your hip nice and strong. Good. Very minimal wiggling through the bottom. And just keep that circle as narrow as you need to. You again will start to feel, yes, your thigh and your hip, but your core starting to help you out here. Here for 4 or 5 more. You have got it. Good job. Keep drawing in through the lower abs. Finding the inhale and the exhale. Remember, if you're starting to whip around a certain part of the circle or speed up, just take that as an indicator you're getting a bit tired or a bit weak there, so slow it down. Good, maybe moving on to last circle here. Ooh, lovely, and bring those feet back down. We're swapping legs again, so kick one leg up. We're gonna just flex the foot and gently lower the heel down towards the end of the mat. We're not gonna touch the end of the mat, we're just gonna hop it above it. Because if you were to let your heel drop, your pelvis would probably tip forwards to 12. We wanna maintain neutral pelvis. Point your toe to lift, flex to lower. Point to lift, flex to lower. Point, inhale, lift. Flex, exhale, lower. Point and lift, flex and lower. Point and lift, flex and lower. Nice straight leg, lift and lower. Lift and lower. Good. 2 more with me. Lift and lower. Lift, hold it up there. Flex your foot. Turn your foot and your leg into the turnout position. So the toes, the kneecap point out to the side. You might not feel it, but your hip has also externally rotated. Keep that turnout position. Lower the foot and squeeze up to the ceiling. Lower there. Squeeze up to the ceiling. Keeping that neutral lumbar, lowering and lifting. Lowering and lifting, avoiding that temptation to tip to 12 o'clock through the pelvis. Good, lower and lift. Let's go for 5 more. We're going 5 and lift, 4 and lift, 3 and lift, 2 and lift, and 1. Lift. Good. Bend that knee back in, place the foot on the ground, swap legs, one leg up nice and long. We're going to flex at the ankle, gently start lowering the heel, not all the way to the ground, just as far as your abs can maintain neutral pelvis. Point and lift. Inhale, exhale, flex and lower. Inhale, point and lift. Exhale, flex and lower. Inhale, point and lift. Exhale, flex and lower. Inhale, point and lift. Exhale, flex and lower. Keep it up. Nice and strong through your leg. Exhale, flex and lower. Inhale, point and lift. Exhale, flex and lower. Point and lift. Flex and lower. We're nearly there. 3 to go. Point and lift. Flex and lower. And 2. And lower. And 1. And lower. Now kick your leg all the way up, flex your foot, turn out through the toes, the knee and the hip, and slowly lower down there in the turnout position, not all the way to the ground. Squeeze up. Good. So moving through those lowers and lifts. Pace it nice and gently. You don't want to go too quick. Maintaining that awareness of our neutral hips. So you do need some core activation here, don't you? Think about keeping your hip bones quite close in towards your ribs. That will help to contract that region of core at the front of your tummy there. Good, so keep going for about another 6 of these, I think. There we go, lovely. Yeah, that's it, 4 more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Bend that knee, bring it back in, stretch your legs down to the bottom of your mat, stretch your hands up to the top of your mat and have a full body reach there. Maybe a bit of a wriggle left side and right side, and just take any movements you need. You might like to just stretch up down the middle to stretch the center line of the tummy. And relax there. walking the feet back in and bringing the hands back in. Now we're going to explore a bridge sequence, and we're going to bring in some of that pelvic stability work and the single leg circle work as well. So just beginning with a bridge, if you can imprint your lower back, squeeze your glutes on really nice and strong, and then push down through your feet to lift hips and spine away from the mat. Now push down through the left foot, squeeze through the left thigh and glute, and raise the right knee to tabletop. Gently take that right foot down, and same again on the other side. Press down through the right foot, lift the left knee. So starting to take your marches, left, right. That's it. And as you press down through the foot, it gives you the confidence to lift off through the other leg. Again, fingertips on hip bones can be really helpful here, because it just lets you know if you're keeping both hips lifted. Okay, we want to keep height through both hips. It's very easy as you lift the leg to tabletop to let that hip drop and twist towards the mat. So trying to keep some height on those. Lovely. Last couple of movements here, and then we're going to start making this a little bit tougher. So come back down to the mat for a little pause. We're going to come up to bridge again and do our leg lift and lowers. So up we come to our bridge. That's it. We're going to press down through left foot and extend right toes up towards the ceiling. Square through the hips, flex the right foot, lower through the heel just so that the thighs are level, point the toe to lift. Flex to lower, thighs are parallel, point to lift. Flex, thighs are parallel, point to lift. Flex, parallel thighs, point to lift. Two more if you've got them here. Lower and lift and lower and lift. Good. Gently bend the knee, pop that foot back down. Come down from the bridge. We're going to take 2 deep breaths into the body. And then let's get up to do the other side. So bridging up, please. Press down through the right foot. Left toes point up to the ceiling. Flex the foot. Just lower so the thighs are parallel. Point to lift. Flex to lower to parallel thighs. Point to lift. Flex to lower. Point to lift. And another 3. And lift. 2. Keep squeezing through the glutes. Keep the hips high. Last 1. And lift. Bending the knee, placing the foot back down and controlling yourself back down from your bridge. Just a quick knee hug then, so cuddle the knees in towards the chest just to loosen off through the lower back. And we're going to take our one leg circle in the bridge. This is quite tough because we're using our pelvic stability, but our pelvis is going to be suspended in midair, so it's not got much support at all. We're going to have to create all that support ourselves. So finding your bridge position, please. Lovely. You're just going to push down through left foot, lengthen your right toes so thighs remain parallel to start with, square the hips level, and start to take circles with the right leg. Ooh, they should be really tough. Nice and slow. 3, 4. We reverse the circles. We go 4. Nice. 3, 2. Squeezing the glutes. 1. And return gently down to the mat. We're going to take 3 deep breaths. And back up to bridge. Press down through the right foot, point the left toes, level off through your hips, squeeze the glutes. We've got 4 circles. 3, 2, 1, and change of direction. 4, 3, squeezing the glutes here. I know we're getting tired. 2, and 1. Lovely. Bring that leg down. Gently release back down from your bridge. Take your feet a little bit wider and take your knees left to right to create windscreen wiper knees. Just getting a nice gentle movement into the lower back and some movement through the hips because they've worked really hard for you. And bringing those legs back in to find your Pilates rest posture. Let's take a little bit of upper body work next. If you can join me on hands and knees. Spread the fingertips nice and wide. Take a moment to draw the shoulder blades down the back. Lengthen through the back of the neck towards the crown. Think about the lumbar. If yours is prone to an arch like mine is, just start to elongate the lower back, okay, drawing in through the tummy there to help you. So we're going to drop the shoulders down away from the ears, and then just let your shoulder blades squeeze together, okay, and then push your shoulder blades apart. Let your shoulder blades squeeze together, push them apart, working through squeezing and parting. You'll notice you travel towards the mat and then you push strong away from the mat. Good, keep working there, keep working. Get a really good squeeze, really good push. Really good squeeze, really good push. So what we're working here is that strength, that postural strength to draw our shoulder blades in close, because quite often we're prone to shoulder blades winging a bit wide or lifting up a bit high. So this just gives us that strength to pull them back into neutral again. So remember, shoulders down away from ears. Keep going for a few more of these. I want these to feel quite strong and quite tiring. We want to get some good work through them. So another 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. If you need to take a quick child's pose, feel free to sink back towards the mat for a moment, and we'll continue with some shoulders. So back up to hands and knees there, and we're going to take one arm out to the side, so it's just going to float out to the side of the body. Flip your palm so it turns towards the front edge of your mat, touch your temple, and then take your arm wide again, place it down to the mat. Same arm, let's go wide, palm forwards, temple, arm out, release. And again, arm out, palm forwards, touch temple, arm out, release. And again, float out, palm forwards, touch temple, palm forwards, release. And again, arm out, palm forwards, touch temple, arm out, release. 2 more rounds. We go out, palm forwards, touch temple, and out, and release. Last time, we go arm out, palm forwards, touch temple, palm forwards, release. Changing sides, draw those shoulder blades down, shoulders down away from ears. Arm out, palm forwards, touch temple, arm out, palms forwards again, and release. And again, we go arm out, palm forwards, touch temple, arm out, release. Arm out, palm forwards, touch temple, arm out, release. And arm out, palm forwards, touch temple, arm out, release. We're halfway through. Let's go. Arm out, palm forwards, touch temple, arm out, release. Arm out, palm forwards, touch temple, arm out, release. 2 more. Arm out, palm forwards, touch temple, arm out, release. Last time. Arm out, palm forwards, touch temple, arm out, release. Again, maybe sinking back to a child's pose if that's comfortable for you, if that's what you need. Come forwards to hands and knees again. We're going to level this up a little bit. So from hands and knees position, curl your toes. We're going to see if we can lift our hips. So hips are going to lift up towards the sky, so you're in a downward dog, and lift your hips nice and high. Find a little bit of heaviness and anchoring through heels and through ankles. Lovely. So think about drawing the shoulder blades together and down a little bit. And then we're just going to start to tiptoe towards the hands. Start to relax the head. Look to your feet, take a bit of weight into the hands, go as far as your flexibility allows, and then start to walk your feet backwards again. Okay, and that's the movement. We're going to inhale, prepare, exhale, shoulder blades engaged, drawing down the back as you tiptoe, weight in towards the hands, and then start to tiptoe back again. Nice, and again. Walking in towards the hands, weight into the hands a bit, and start to walk it back. Good. Now don't worry if yours doesn't look too similar to mine. We're all going to have slightly different levels of flexibility here. Let's go for 2 more of these. So we're going to lift and tiptoe towards the hands, lift the butt, look towards your feet. That's it. And last one, from downward dog into that tall pike position, and then walking your feet back. Lovely, bring your weight forwards over the wrists, take the knees down and find that child's pose release. From child's pose, relax your elbows beside your head. Take your hands into a prayer position behind the head. Allow the triceps to stretch out here and let your heart rate settle. Come to join me sitting either on your bottom or on your block, whatever's more comfortable. We're going to try and do a fire log stretch. Now these are a little bit awkward, so again they'll look very different depending on the body. So if we start by crossing one leg in front of us, okay, so we want this shin kind of parallel with the edge of the mat. This requires your hip to be able to externally rotate a little bit, doesn't it? You're then going to take your other leg, this spare leg, and see if you can cross it over, okay? So you're tangling yourself up a little bit here. Now the goal eventually is to let both your knees kind of splay outwards, okay? Now you can do this by stacking the knees one above the other, so you've got your feet a bit wider, okay? So that one might work for you. Or you stack one ankle on one knee and one knee on one ankle. So this is our sort of fire log style stretch, whichever one works for you. I find this one a little bit easier. I find the knees stacked, a little bit of a deeper twist and a deeper stretch for the glute. So see what you can do. If this is a nightmare, come to sit cross-legged or legs out, whatever you want. We're going to do a few shoulder stretches whilst we're in the pose. So let's take one arm across the body. See if we can pull it a little bit further across here. Take a few deep breaths. So we're stretching into the shoulder, the side and the back of the shoulder. Nice, and then release. Same arm that you just stretched, pat yourself on the back, and then either apply some pressure from the front or some pressure from above. That's it. If you're getting uncomfortable in those legs, just feel free to come and sit comfortably. You've got shoulder stretches that you can get on with. Well done, and unravel through the arms. We're going to swap the legs around, okay? So remember which is your base leg and which was your top leg. So you're going to bring your other leg so that it's your base, with your shin kind of parallel with the front of the mat, and you're going to try and cross your other leg over somewhere, and this kind of might be where you're at. Again, a block underneath the bottom can help to raise you up and take some of the angles out of this stretch. Options here then are to try and get the knees to line up one above the other. This is tough. It gives you that extra stretch around the side of the glute here. Another really awesome fire log stretch is to bring ankle on knee and knee on ankle to cross your legs in this way. So I'll leave it with you as to what stretch you're wanting to get into at the moment. So we're going to take one arm across the body again and pull on for our stretch here. Stretching into the back and the side of the shoulder. Lovely, take some tall breaths. We've worked quite hard today, so just let your breath settle, let your heart rate settle. Again, if you're getting uncomfortable, feel free to change those legs. So same arm that you're stretching, you're going to take that up and over and pat yourself on the back and apply some extra pressure either from above or from the front. Finding a tricep stretch and an open shoulder. Unraveling the arms and unraveling your legs to a position of comfort. If you've enjoyed it, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more like this.